Greetings everyone, and Great here with another Advanced Wars by Web replay. So on bottom left side as the orange star Von Bolt, we got Billsive, not sure how to pronounce that properly, my apologies. So on the north side as the Amber Fire, Amber Orange, Amber Blaze, we got EFKalcifur, butchered that name well enough as well. This replay is a little bit interesting. I took one look at it and I realized I should cast this immediately. I have no idea what it is going to entail, but I have a feeling that you guys could probably look at the link of this video. We're going to be in for a long one. I have no idea how this is going to go. I like to go into my replays blind, so let's figure out what on earth happened in this replay. Let's first talk about the map, shall we? As you can see here, this is a 3-base, 1 airport map. There's also a harbor here as well. There's 2 shores here, so transport play, mobility of ships is a little bit more feast or famine, but there could be a possibility of battleship. Battleships can easily lock down the HQ. It is, of course, the Olaf that is not the Advanced Wars not Days of Ruin. Dual strike version, so he does not get the day-to-day passive in snow of bonus damage bonus effect. He just simply gets the turn snow for 1 day and 2 damage global. I sort of like the advanced dual strike version of him. The ability to, which makes his power a little bit more effective, able to get a little bit extra power bonus. It's one of those things I think there's a lot of the reworks in not Days of Ruin, dual strike that probably could have been more implemented in Advanced Wars by Web, but of course when we start balancing one CO, you're going to probably start balancing everything. When it comes to, of course, Von Bolt, he gets plus 10 attack and defense. Very good day-to-day, which is better than just being okay in snow. Just normal in snow. Nothing too significant. And of course, Von Bolt has his globe 3 damage stun superpower like normal. Or super. When it comes to also the map, there's also comm towers in the corners, which is guarded by recon. There's cities in the other corners, which are traversable by mechs and or infantry. Of course, the mountains and shores. This recon here, you of course can take shots from your base with the artillery piece, but it's probably a good idea to move down a little bit. This recon there also provides a little bit of vision, gives an idea of what your opponent's floats out here. There is a decent amount of roads and shores here, so motorized vehicles, wheeled vehicles, should move quite decently. Not perfectly, but decently. HQ is surrounded by shores, so possible a lot of boosting here. But once you move your lander off your HQ, it can no longer get on. And let's see, what else is to cover this map? Of course, there's fog of war, plenty of forests, plenty of plains, not too many mountains. Oh, this is also dual airport, I probably should also mention. There is black boats, your opponent's black boat on this airport here, which not only prevents the airport from being captured, but look at here, got the mountain here as well, so it's going to cause some mobility issues here as well for the guy who's also in a mobility scooter. Is that joke off-colored? Eh, oh well. He should be in a mobility scooter if he doesn't want to be yelled at being... I should not go any further with this joke. Sorry. It's streamer brain. Can sometimes get the best of me. And yeah, looks like there's also a handful of spent missile silo platforms. Can't say how well these one are useful. I can see this one being useful. By the way, let's go ahead and get started. This is going to be a long one, so oh yeah, I forgot one thing as well. I have some keys rebound with via macro, and not gotta turn on. Let's actually get started now. My apologies for the late start. I'm going to really pump through the initial phase. It's going to be a long game. I wonder if players will go for artillery piece relatively early or late. Red's going back and forth with recon. Oh, we got an artillery piece here, not to engage recon, but going for the airport. double artillery piece by Olaf. Pushing out, capturing. Of course, got a lander here. Oh yeah, did they start with landers there? One more thing I forgot to cover. They both wear sort of a decent amount of assets in the field. Good damage to the black boat. I wonder if he... First strike was 5, first strike was 4, then the next strike was 5. Of course, as more damage you take, the less the effectiveness of defense starts. But you see here the difference. First strike was 4, the strike was 3, so you can see a plus 10% offense. Defense is playing a bit of a role, maybe a bit of bad luck or good luck. Artillery piece now taking on the Von Bolt Recon. We may see artillery piece here next turn. Finish off the black boat. So he could pull out some arrow units a little bit earlier. Great, I'm getting some hiccups. Artillery piece and recon. Recon is down. He could have moved it to the column tower, get extra defense, causing another turn of pain for both sides. Though, also, a lot of these free kills here does give a bit of power charge. Not like the Blizzard's going to be all that useful, but of course, anything a little bit super close with the Winter Fury or Ex Machina is nice for both players. Which, one thing that Von Bolt could do is delete his black boat there. Deny... Actually, no, he gets more power charge if he dies. Never mind. And Olaf has pulled out a battle copter. Got a anti-air there. Takes out the black boat. More artillery pieces there, so Olaf's going for a decent amount of artillery. Let's see, right now, got 19 versus 18,000. Recon gets first strike. Fully stops the capture. Tank there gets first strike. Olaf's tank is in range, but the artillery piece could... In coverage. Olaf, I don't think he has vision of that artillery piece. Was it recon or tanks can see 3, infantry sees 2, so the of course he sees both of these guys here, so he must place exactly in spawn. So he does get the first strike here, but he'll get a powerful counterattack in return. You see the Olaf recon gets back onto the comm tower, does spot the recon and the lander already make its way down over there. Lander up here. He actually did see that, I guess he didn't see that artillery piece is too late. Good interrupt there. Plus 10% defense does prevent the kill, but he's probably not going to join capture on it. Just finish off the capture here. The chance of him actually sustaining the capture is not going to be possible, so he sees all this here. Battlecopter, multiple battlecopters now deployed up by Olaf. Tank takes out the artillery takes out the tank, and 8 damage. That seems a little bit high. I thought the artillery pieces had a little less damage. Oh, he rolled pretty much close to max luck or high luck. I don't know what fractional health he had left, but very good luck. Plus the 10% offense for Von Bolt did come out. He does spot the battlecopter there. His ATR is pretty far away, but he can always push forward his own battlecopter. Capturing up that property. 5 health tank there. Capture up this property. Good strike there in the infantry. Tank rotating around. Battlecopter, anti-air, infantry. Artillery piece pushing forward in good hiding position. Artillery lurking in the woods. Recon does take a good hit there. Let's see. This battlecopter. 1, 2, 3. I cannot click on. Yep, out of range. Anti-air does manage to get in range. Shoots down the battlecopter. And of course, anti-air is good against recons. Gets a strike there on these units. Interrupt some captures. Right now, Von Bolt does have a 2,000 income lead. Artillery piece, recon, infantry sacks. Finish it off. Very nice. Of course, this infantry is going to be done for. I'm pretty sure he has no vision on the artillery piece. There's always some visual bugs when it comes to Fog of War. Does get trapped there. Battlecopter, tank, infantry, infantry. Could see Winter Fury relatively soon. It doesn't really matter if Olaf pops at start and end their turn. Both are equally preferable. Sure, it may pop in the end of turn, will lose now plus 10, but that's generally fine. Plus 10. Well, it is doing quite well for Von Bolt to say the least. But it is acceptable not going for it. Plus 2 global damage means it's harder for your opponent to counterattack you if you're a little bit over aggressive trying to feel that power meter. Right now it says Olaf has approximately 126, 127 versus 125. So Von Bolt has a slight lead, maybe a full turn lead roughly at this point in time. But of course, Winter Fury will call 20% of your opponent's value, which is quite insane, honestly. Not to mention, having just less health means you have a lot less momentum. Harder to 2 8 health tanks is significantly has trouble breaking through something as opposed to a single 10 health tank sometimes. Recon providing some good vision. Tank, battlecopter, tank, infantry. Von Bolt has quite a sizable force here. Great strike there. Of course, that tank is pretty much dead. There's 2 anti-airs here, so not like, and of course a battlecopter, so not like this battlecopter can charge forward and get some work done. Double artillery piece here. Von Bolt doesn't have too much here, but neither does Olaf. So overall, Von Bolt is in pretty sizable lead. Oh, we got a medium tank there. No Winter Fury. Good strike there. Got 222 versus 24,000 income as well, so Von Bolt still has a slight lead. Battlecopter making some way up north and all their recon tank. Recon will definitely get knocked out by one of these artillery pieces. Winter Fury. Of course, Von Bolt's Ex Machina will be available relatively soon, but of course doesn't get any power charge from the global damage. Neo Tank. He knows about the Winter Fury. This may not... it's going to be expensive to repair. I don't know if that's a great option or not a good option. Winter Fury has now active. Good hits there. Recon takes the 4 health infantry. Battlecopter heading down south. Good strikes. Multiple good strikes here. Denying more progress is ever so important. This is 4 health, 8 capture progress, so 2 turns can capture. And here gets a good strike there on the artillery piece. Artillery goes to the forest. Medium tank advances to the HQ. Forest won't be hidden, but it will be hard to displace. Tank anti-air tank. Get some good strikes there in anti-air. Battlecopter still gets easily one-shotted. Both players do have the comm tower if I forgot to mention that. And it's only one comm tower map, so firepower is a little bit lower. Lander right here. Lander will need a fuel relatively soon. Next turn, if he doesn't get interrupted, he will get a property. Not too many despicable neutral properties left on the map. Tank, anti-air, infantry. Battlecopter will take out the anti-air, or tank, and anti-air take out anti-air. Medium tank does push forward. And I wonder, Neo tank, do you see what I see? A tank, looming in the woods. We shall fill it full of holes. That Neo tank is going to get a great first strike there, and Ex Machina. Ex Machina will likely land right here as well, though he could take the strike there before launching Ex Machina if he wants to try to manipulate where Ex Machina land, though I don't know how much vision he has here at the moment. Anti-air, recon, and anti-air. Superpower. Where did it land? Oh, somewhere around here. Did it land right here? Of course, we don't see the stuff hit until we see the opponent's turn, but looks like it landed right around here. The anti-air, it could have base blocked him. It's hard to say. Of course, now got additional +10/+10 for Von Bolt as well. I'm assuming he doesn't get any other firepower. The missile will target the opponent's greatest accumulation of unit value, so yeah, right here sounds like it may have hit. The lander could have weighted it more towards the left. Yeah, probably actually, the lander probably weighted it a little bit more towards the left, so the lander's probably hit the anti-air's probably fine. Of course, it says missile here, but I'm pretty sure it's a lightning strike. Good strikes there. I'm wanting that Neo tank to get a good shot on in from the property. That makes the most sense. And oh, 1 health remaining, 95%. So he got a middling roll at least. So that medium tank is knocked out and maybe completely destroyed with this light tank. Or by this one. Of course, Winter Fury is now available. Does unload there. Needed fuel, and we'll get repaired. The repair is actually not that important. Infantry unit managed to finish it off there. I guess he had just got a high enough luck roll. It's hard to tell. Battlecopter, tank, infantry. Let's see. It did hit the lander, not the anti-air. Hitting the lander is probably perfectly fine for Olaf. Hitting the anti-air would have been actually a bit of a problem since it would also base block him. But he always have money to spawn in airport, go double battlecopter and infantry if he wanted to. Of course, he's going to have to fight against +10/+10 this turn. But still making some good headway. Artillery piece pushed quite far forward, but it seems in a safe enough position. Right now, Olaf's value is approximately 145. Goes for another medium, infantry. Versus Von Bolt's approximately 158, so it's coming down to day-to-day turn value. Great strike there on the artillery piece. Tank engaged anti-air. Light tank course got ripped apart, but the artillery is now in range of the Neo tank. He does have to deal with one terrain star and of course +10% passive defense. But the battlecopter does swoop on in. Not, I think Von Bolt has pulled quite a far ahead. 154 versus approximately 142. That's still coming down to day to day. But I think Olaf is starting to get a day behind, if not already there. Hero take out the battlecopter. Oh, he got his next superpower. Now the Neo Tank will not be able to repair up this damage. Lots of good hits there. With these guys as slightly wounded, it's easy to finish them off and take engagements. Lots of good hits there. Lander's now no longer stunned, so I can push the medium tank forward. And we'll get repairs. Neo tank deployed by Olaf. Neo tank here did not receive hits, nothing to really take it out. So +2 global damage is nice and all for it. Artillery piece gets a good shot there, and that artillery piece as well. That battlecopter does not take out the tank. So artillery piece actually has 4 ammo. That's plenty of ammo. I always forget Days of Ruin drastically reduce the fuel and ammo across all the units, making it so resupplying is a little bit more of a core mechanic you have to worry about rather than the thing you have to occasionally worry about. Which actually I do like that, because after all, in this game, you rarely run out of ammo or fuel unless it's an aircraft or a war tank. Just makes a bit more of a mechanic. And even then, in Days of Ruin, with all the reduced fuel and ammo, you really don't have to worry about max ammo too often. There's a lot of anti-airs there, so battlecopters cannot exist. Nice, a lot of good pushes there. Medium tank scores a kill, tank getting hit. Lots of scratches onto these units over here. It's just all a knockout, drag out, and brawl with how much damage they're taking. More to the piece of forward. Right now, Olaf does have. Let's wait till end of turn for the unit value. Artillery, battlecopter, infantry. Oops. I didn't mean to go back. He did end the turn with about 44,000 versus Von Bolt. Oh, Von Bolt's actually below 100,000 now in unit value plus the day-to-day, so he's about at 120. So Olaf has taken a turn ahead thanks to his Winter Fury. Because 20%, calling 20% of the opponent's value is quite impactful, to say the least. We all know about that. Gets trapped there. Battlecopter, tank, infantry. Another Ex Machina is almost available. And Ex Machina both acts as a form of global damage, but not really, and also somewhat acts as a lightning strike, an eagle lightning strike, but also not really, because if you say hit a large formation with the Ex Machina, it will disable their turn, so effectively means you can get a double turn. Or at least make an action without retaliation, like a double turn. And looks like Olaf is pulling back. He's concerned with the Ex Machina. The Ex Machina is approximately 25,000. Medium tank, infantry. The Neo tank has been actually survived and was brought back in some day-to-day repairs. I would say 6 health is the minimum amount. I would say 8 health would be the ideal amount before push forward. Don't wait to save up to 10. Good strike there. Good shot. Anti-air. You have to capture. Von Bulk does have a sizable income lead. 27,000 versus 22. Gets trapped there. Neo tank trying to rotate around to engage the medium tank, which it is in range of the medium tank, but of course medium tanks have really bad vision. Bomber. I don't think you've seen this Neo tank yet either, so the bomber is eyeing for... It's a bomber. I don't think I really explain it. It's a power play. Infantry down south, but he has still an infantry down here, and it's going to be stubborn. Boost the artillery. I suppose technically out of range of the infantry unit. Can't place on top of there. Medium tank is a good strike. Finish off the light tank. Great shot there. Ex Machina is now available. It will likely strike right here. I think it will strike right there. Though maybe right here with the Neo tank. He may want to make sure don't push forward. There's a good chance it will strike the Neo tank, and he is pushing pretty far forward. The lander here, the lander actually, if he doesn't want to strike the Neo tank, he could try pushing up a little bit there, away from the stuff, try to manipulate. I have to go down there. I have trying to manipulate your opponent's Ex Machina is like, where do you want to be? It's not a fun feeling. Where do you want to die? It's like the saying, would you rather lose an arm or a leg? For me, I'd rather lose a leg than an arm, because a leg can be replaced with prosthetic, and a hand is very hard to replace. It'd be hard to game without a second hand. Where is Ex Machina going to land? Do you guys think it's going to land here or here? I have a feeling it's going to land right here, which the anti-air is in range as well. Let's find out. Let's find out. I think I guessed correctly. That's a pretty good Ex Machina. Of course, he splashes on infantry unit there. Didn't capture it. There's a strike there. Uses 6 health Neo tank against the tank. Getting some good damage. I'm curious what it's like. $52 to $57. Of course, he has some properties plus 10% passive plus the additional 10%. So he's approximately 30s and 3 stars. So there's actually a lot of defense there. Then cut in half. Tank strike there. Gets trapped like a stepdad. Oh, the term I was trying to say is gets stuck like a stepdad. Alright, enough of that joke. That was a really bad joke. Battlecopter does scratch the Neo tank a little bit. Didn't hit the anti-air. I thought it would hit the anti-air. Wait, I don't see the X here. Looks like the X somewhat disappeared, but there's no damage on this one. I thought he would hit it. Unless it's just sort of bugged out, doesn't want to show the damage because of Fog of War stuff. 40 to 47. Down to 2. Yep, it was damaged. It was hit because it took 8 points of damage, and it's only 40 to maybe 50% at most. So it had to have been hit by the Ex Machina replay bug. Got it. Sorry about that. Sometimes I wonder, wait, that didn't make sense. Yep, you see the automatic weight there, so he definitely did get hit by the Ex Machina. And the Neo tank here also got weighted as well, allowing the bomber to advance approachly, which of course he doesn't see. But he does now see another target for the bomber. This bomber could be massive, though. Winter Fury could be very useful right now. Excuse me. There's also no anti-air there. There's no, other than his 4 health anti-air. So Von Bulk should try to focus on the anti-air to allow the bomber to reign supreme. It's somewhat fine to trade a bomber for a Neo tank as well. They have similar values, or the same value, 22,000. No Winter Fury there. Neo tank finished off the medium tank. Very nice. Did not get shot there because it was hiding in the forest. Winter Fury is now available. 2 health, that's what it was. Takes out the anti-hero. Here comes the bomber. Boom. Now the bomber is out of range of the anti-hero. This bomber, with our caster vision, we know he has free range, but honestly, he does have a decent amount of vision. This infantry showing the anti-air and artillery, he may have an idea there's another anti-air. Wasn't paying attention too much of what he did or didn't see. But if he knows about the other anti-air there, then he knows that he does have a lot of free range for the bomber in this region. If there's 2 anti-airs down there, it's likely not many left on the rest of the map. Let's go for a double anti-air himself, because there's a decent number of battlecopters here. Here comes the Winter Fury, which is going to neuter the bomber. But an 8 health bomber is still quite deadly. Anti-air finished off the Neo tank. That Neo tank definitely paid for itself. Right now, Von Bolt, last time checked, was 140 versus right now potentially 140 for Olaf as well. So it looks like they're coming down to data income, which may be still slightly favoring towards Von Bolt, but Olaf still has to conduct his turn. And gains good damage to finish off a large number of these light tanks over here. And Von Bolt only has 2,000 income advantage right now, nothing too significant. Fighter. He wants the bomber dead. Yep, he ended the turn with approximately 140,000. Von Bolt's cut pushed on to 90,000. Winter Fury ripped his value. And so right now he's roughly around 110 versus 140, which is quite significant difference. Brings back the bomber a little bit, nothing too significant. Takes out that one there. Battlecopter, tank, infantry, and recon. Right now Olaf is at 150,000. Gets trapped. Medium tank push way forward, which could be a bit of a bluff. He does not know where his opponent's anti-air is at the moment. And one way to neutralize the fighter right now of Olaf is don't give any real targets. He could sack the bomber to take out the medium tank, give him some power to able to project a bit more of that out of the way with his tank. Anti-airs can take out the battlecopters. But maybe worth to sack the bomber on the medium tank. It's already paid for itself by now with taking out that Neo tank. So losing the bomber is not a massive issue right now, but he still also needs to make every value count though. Neo tank, infantry. But yeah, as he knows, oh what? You know what? Down there. Okay, he did that. Bomber strikes the medium tank severely. Takes out the medium tank. Try to flip a property. Takes out some battlecopters. It stops that capture. That infantry gets gunned down. Tank. Artillery pieces do merge. Takes out the anti-air. Fighter nukes the bomber. That bomber definitely paid for itself. Neo tank loads up on the liner, dismounts there. Nothing too much down here to threaten or to be threatened by. Tank, infantry, and battlecopter. Wait, what? Oh, that's the artillery piece that got that shot there. I was like, I saw the anti-air there moving, like, oh, he somehow got a shot diagonally. Just me. I guess he wasn't really paying attention last turn because he knew he got killed off there by something that's not in direct fire. One same target. All no splashes does not work in Advanced Wars. Battlecopter on battlecopter violence. Ex Machina will likely be deployed out next turn. Got a Neo tank here, but the Ex Machina could strike the fighter. So Olaf now, since there's no real valid targets left for the fighter other than this battlecopter, could try to divert the Ex Machina with his fighter. Perhaps put since it always goes for value, and this is 2,000 or 20,000 value units, so it weighs pretty high there. Putting the tank next to it, it would be 27,000. Be hard to trump past that. I don't think anything would trump that value either. Gets trapped. Battlecopter, anti-air, infantry, and tank. Winter Fury is almost available as well, so a lot could happen. He ended the turn with 26,126 versus 119 plus day-to-day. Goes us back down to day-to-day income difference. Neo tank is a great first strike there. Those right now looks like the Ex Machina will strike right around here. Actually, no, it'll probably hit the lander before it hit the anti-air. Takes out the battlecopter there. Ex Machina's available. Tank, battlecopter, tank, infantry. And Ex Machina is available. I think it'll probably strike right here. It'll hit the lander and the artillery piece as well as Neo tank. He may not be aware of the artillery piece, but he should be aware that he'll probably hit around here. So he may want to pull back these units. Not like they much can do versus a Neo tank either way. So let's see where it lands. That's infantry capture. As I predicted, I think it landed... Actually, no, it missed his own units. It did not hit the artillery piece there. I think it landed right here. Because if it were to land right here, both these units would be hit. So it may have just hit right here. That looks like what happens. Looks like it may have hit right there. I don't know how it calculates friendly fire damage. It may weigh that out. But either way, Neo tank's locked down, which will give him some extra breathing room for a turn. Maybe they'll rotate a battlecopter or something over there to engage. And he gets to strike on the fighter, effectively knocking it out. He has 2 airports, so he can fall back, get repairs. It's not a possible bad idea. I'm not sure that's a good or bad idea at the moment. Winter Fury is available, so Von Bolt will have a lot of stuff called. He's repositioning all of his units on properties so they get repaired on up, so they can just push forward. Medium tank, infantry. And here comes the Winter Fury. Von will end the last turn with 120, right now with 120. Good strike there. Fire's not going to fall back. It's going to be used as a wall. Because who would have thunk aircraft flying, somehow hovering in the air, is a great way to stop units from traveling underneath. Actually, that does make sense with helicopters. If you've ever been underneath a helicopter, you know that you have trouble standing up underneath a helicopter. Though I've only been that under a helicopter once before, and that was a Black Hawk. Of course, Von Bolt does have to deal with the winter with this turn. And of course, against +10/+10. Good strikes there. Von Bolt still has an economic advantage, but still that slight 2,000 lead. There are no more despicable neutral properties on this map. Anti-air infantry and another anti-air. There's a good shot there in the anti-air. So these Olaf battlecopters have been going around uncontested. And a lot of these tanks are quite vulnerable. He is sinking the lander there, so he's going to try for an HQ cap relatively soon. So we've got anti-air over here. The tank may be able to machine gun down the battlecopter. I've always had trouble gauging how much damage a tank can do to a battlecopter. Pulls back the Neo tank. Doesn't realize that he has pretty good coverage in this region. Or lack of threats, really. But of course, sometimes better safe than sorry. Or means lacking any sort of real scouting capabilities. Tank. Let's see how well a tank does versus a battlecopter. With a high enough luck roll, he could take it out. He does. Takes out the anti-air. Finishes off the infantry unit. There's still 2 battlecopters, which he should see this one. Probably does not see this one. One health infantry does not interrupt the capture. Does use the tank to interrupt the capture. Got a lot of tanks here, but nothing to. Only some threats to the battlecopters. But these tanks can focus on one tank can focus on the anti-air. Gets trapped. Finished off. He does spot with the Neo tank sat, so just keep your eyes on it. It's not a bad thing. Another Von Bolt bomber. He's been quite successful with these bombers, and that could be a great way to nuke the Neo tank. Come out of the fog of war and nuke it. Now on the HQ, so if you just push it towards the center, then it should have free range to hit that Neo tank. Battlecopter gets a good shot there. It's going for HQ cap, but can easily be interrupted. Especially by this single infantry unit. I wonder... It doesn't look like this anti-air is in range of the battlecopter. Yep, just one tile out of range. This one is in range of this battlecopter, so this can come out from side it and take it out. And does fully stop the capture. And Von Bolt's getting some good progress here. Gets trapped. It's actually not too great. You want that tank to shoot against infantry. Bomber heading up north, trying to ambush the Neo tank. He will probably push for the Neo tank this turn. I think it would have been better to left the bomber on top of the HQ, so it can at least strike the Neo tank if it just stays there. Which probably would not make sense for him to stay there. A Neo tank is only worth its value if it can fire upon enemies. Let's see, end of the turn with 133 versus Olaf's 118 plus 25, so it's 133 as well. So it's back down to day-to-day income, but Von Bolt has a slight advantage, I believe. Lots of good hits there, so the Neo tank is in bombing range. Spots a bomber again, and it's like, oh crap. Pops the power. It reduces movement range by half, right? What does... I forget, what does heavy version of Advanced Wars does weather different? But according to this, it would stop its from hitting the Neo tank. A very tactical blizzard. Let's see if it still holds up once it becomes its bonus turn. Yeah, it's also walling in the Neo tank entirely with a bunch of cheap fodder. Nothing to really break through this much fodder. Fighter there. Yep, it does reduce the max range by a significant amount. Let's see. I forget, what does weather do in winter technically do? Because ground forces work fine, but looks like winter really does adversely affect areas. I can't remember what winter does. Too many different games. But you can no longer reach the Neo tank for this bomber, even if it does have a clearer path. Yep. So a very good winter there to save his Neo tank. It also allows his fighter to be deployed in the field, get rushed in the front line, quickly take out the bomber. As in Days of Ruin, winter just reduced the movement range of everything by 1, which looks like. And Dual Striker increases fuel consumption, double fuel consumption, which is really worthless. I guess winter in this Advanced Wars by Web cuts the movement range of aircraft in half. Yellow does start pulling back there of his forces. The bomber out of bomber range. Tank recon. Good strike there. Finish off the 1 health infantry. That recon gets nuked by the bomber. Mean tank push by 4, trying to be a peeling target for the Neo tank. Does not take the bait until you deal with the bomber. Recon. Taking some infantry units there. Von Bolt will end the turn with 139,000 for his Olaf's 141, so it's come down to day-to-day funding. He does have 33,000 stored up, so decent funding. Battlecopter strike the medium tank. He is on one of his own properties, so we'll get the healing. Neo tank is a good strike there. Gets trapped, which is actually quite important. If the bomber nukes the Neo tank, it will be destroyed by the fighter. However, that may be cost effective because after all, bombers and Neo tanks cost the same amount. It's fine to trade a bomber for a Neo tank. But the X-Mach... Wait a second. Has he seen the fighter yet? If he does... No, wait. The Mega Tank could draw the Ex-Machina. So the Ex-Machina could strike here. Let's see. Mega Tanks are what? 27,000? I forget. Something ludicrously expensive. So the Ex-Machina could be drawn away from the fighter. Could hit the Mega Tank. But he could... Nuking the Neo tank would probably give us Ex Machina. There's Ex Machina. It will likely strike the Mega Tank. I doubt it's a fighter. I think it's a Mega Tank. which will also base block him, and that Megatank will be very far behind. It's already pretty slow, and it's going to be in turn slower. Does get trapped there. No, wait, the Ex Machina striked here? The Ex Machina struck here, hit the fighter and the battlecopter. Okay, that's really good for Von Bolt. It did not strike the Megatank. Locking down the fighter there with the Ex Machina. I don't know how much he intended that, but it worked out very well for Von Bolt. I wonder if he knows. Now the bomber has it's a lightning strike for him. There's no retaliation. 139,000 versus 110. Looks like the Von Bolt's pulling a bit ahead. Megatank's nice and all, but of course there's still the bomber, of course, and it is slow. It's also lacking a second fighter? Von Bolt does have a good number of battle cops in the field, but I don't know if the second fighter. I guess he's expecting to lose his fighter to dive the bomber. Dive bomber. Wrong game. I don't know about that second fighter. Day 32. Battlecopter gets taken out there, of course. Winter Fury is around the corner. Going for the HQ cap, it's not going to succeed. Of course, this is our cast division. We see all the tanks looming around. Battlecopters set up a nice line formation. Bomber falls back a little bit there. He's afraid of the Winter Fury. Another Neo tank there. Interesting capture there. Olaf has pulled ahead quite significantly with the funding advantage, so Von Bolt needs to play a bit more of the capture game, of course. He may get the city, but the Winter Fury, Winter's knocking. There's also 2 HQs in the match. I don't know how double HQ works in the game. I assume if one gets capture, it's game over. Because if it's going to be like capture all, it would probably be labs rather than HQs. So could be if it capture 1, game over. Tech 2 points, but I have no idea. You don't have 2 HQs in the cartridge. Double fighter. What? Okay, I disagree with the second fighter. I vehemently disagree with the third fighter. He is really wants to take out these battle copters, going for a triple fighter. Winter Fury is now available. He, of course, hit this one here. That's... He does not know about the Wounded Fighter, does he? Does he not know about that Wounded Fighter? Could he believe that's the same fighter? He may push forth Bomber, thinking that's the same fighter, but it's not. Nobody would expect 2 fighters. Nobody would expect 3 fighters, but here we are. Gotta be a little bit cognitive about the Winter Fury, of course. He does get flip 1 property, evening out the funding. And Von Bolt's going to lose a lot of value next turn. His infantry unit out here, the Kaldar is at 2 health. He ended the turn with 163, and that's going to be called really big. At minimum, he lost 32,000 there. And right now, Olaf has plus 23, so he has roughly, what, 135, 130, 140? 140. So in theory right now, Olaf is ahead. 3 fighter gets a good strike there. Takes out a lot of outlying force as well. Scouts out the bomber. 7 health fighter. Effectively takes it out. You can pull back the bomber, get it repaired. There's 2 airports, so only 1 needs to be occupied. There's also a good number of battle copters here. So now he was wearing the double fighter, just not the triple fighter. $100,000. So yeah, into the turn 133 was 7,000. So 140 to now 127. Neo 2 tank only pushes for small. He does flip 1 property, so it's I think 25 versus 25 right now. Pulls back the wounded tank. Actually does not pull back the bomber. Battlecopters fall back. I suppose he can't lure in a anti-air over here. Is he going to pop his own fighter? No, it'd be a double or triple base skip. Anti-air, artillery, infantry. Granted, battlecopters don't move very fast, do they, since it's winter? I keep forgetting that. It's out of vision range at least, and the bridge is blocked, so the anti-air can't make its way down south for the winter. Winter's already passed. That's why he can't make his way down south. Finish off some of these outlying battlecopters. This fighter is still here. Neo tank infantry. Join capture. It's right now even 25-25 as I mentioned earlier. Battlecopters making their advance. Recon gets trapped by the infantry unit. Flipping a property. Do a flip. He does spot the mega tank here. One thing he could do to the mega tank is waste his ammo to use a 2 health tank to at least waste 1 shot. It has 3 rounds. Loads on a property right now, so can't do that at the exact moment. But if he keeps some of these wounded tanks alive, he can just throw them in, removes ammo, the Neo tank will take a good shot. A medium tank? I don't know how effective medium tank is versus mega tanks. Not great. But again, not many things are great against mega tanks. They're monstrosities that have to be taken down with 1,000 cuts. Large amount of these Von Bolt battlecopters going down. No aircraft up here. Battlecopter could find this fighter soon. Mega tank takes out the unit there. It's all the property has 2 ammo remaining. He could sack the tank and put it down to 1 shot, then maybe sack the medium tank, which is a horrible thing to say. And then let the Neo tank get a free shot in. That's... I think he should do that. A 7 health medium tank, this sounds horrible. It's worthless compared to a mega tank. That's something I usually would probably say in a high funds game. But throws a shot there, down to 1 ammo. How bad will this go? Very badly. I think he put it on top of the shore, ensuring he does get killed off. I don't know if on top of the property will make any difference. Great shot there. Of course, it's out of ammo. Needs to fall back to his property for not only for ammo, but also a little bit of healing will go a long way. Or at least make it go a longer way. As I mentioned beforehand as well, these fighters could be used to draw power charge for Ex Machina. I think you just should have pulled back 2 tiles on this property rather than trying to pull back, because it still has no ammo. The Neotank could hunt it down. I don't think he should be grouping up his forces like this. The Neotank's going to get hit really badly here. I don't think he's playing around with Ex Machina well enough. You have to assume the opponent's going to get an Ex Machina next turn. And this is just trying to promote the best Ex Machina possible. No, Ex Machina would definitely strike here, not up there. Remember as well, Sturm's Meteor must target a unit and then splash out from there. Ex Machina can strike open ground as well. So Ex Machina has a better AI protocol than Sturm's Meteor. Let's see, right now he needs another 12,000. That's pretty easy, though he doesn't have too much vision at the moment, which is another matter. Sees the Mega Tank, could take the Mega Tank there with the Neo Tank. I think so. If he does that, then the bomber will be in range. Ex Machina will likely land right here. Yeah, it would definitely land on top of the fighter. Needs another 3,000. I don't think it will get his Ex Machina this turn. Another Neo Tank infantry. The bomber will strike the Neo Tank and will get his Ex Machina. He has to make sure that Neo Tank is far away from the bomber, split them up, let the Ex Machina strike one of them, not both of them. The battlecraft nearby, that's very likely here. Yeah, the Ex Machina is going to land here. Honestly, once the keeps the Neo Tank and fighter together, then I have no idea if it's going to strike this or this. If these guys don't move too far, then it will strike both. Keep these things apart. Just keep the Neo Tank and bomber apart. Let's see, Ex Machina, I just wanted to make sure. Strikes a 2-range missile, so that is a missile silo. Or no, that's wider than missile silo. It's 2 tiles away from the central point, if I remember correctly. Yeah, that's what it was beforehand. So if the Ex Machina strikes here, it will miss the Neo Tank. It's probably going to land here. Don't think it's going to land here. Let's find out. It landed in the Fog of War. Clear as mud. I have no idea, because remember, Fog of War tends not to like Ex Machina. But if I highlight it, if I highlight this, no shield souls all 10. I have no idea what it hit. If I highlight this stuff, I have a feeling struck here, or just struck here. We'll have to wait until next time. Let the replay update his opponent's turn with the wait actions. Because it's the bug in the replay. I'm assuming it's not like this in the live game. I'm not sure. Fire to deploy on the field. The anti-air should be ranged to the bomber, so I guess the Ex Machina didn't strike up here? It did. I'm not sure why you deploy the fighter, because this does automatically wait, and this anti-air should be ranged. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, the fighter is definitely a better call, because he gets a double turn, hit that bomber, with thanks to Ex Machina. I disagree with the fighter. They could try walling it. Of course, he does not see this anti-air there, so he has no reason to wall the bomber. And turn for 166 plus 2,000, 168. Versus now day-to-day of 161. So it's come down back to day-to-day income. Winter Fury is just around the corner as well. Nukes the bomber. Neo Tank's perfectly healthy. There's Winter Fury. Quite a bit emerges there. It's at 130 or up to 30,000 in store. He is making sure stuff is on top of properties, get some repairing. Mostly just infantry though. Tank. Keeps 9,000 in the bank. And here comes a Winter Fury. Right now, the Von Bolt does have a pretty sizable day-to-day income as well, 120 up to 28 to 22. And this is day 40. You don't get the games this long. And both, I think I've been told that Olaf tends to do very well as the game goes longer thanks to repeated Winter Furies. EFKalcifur is not really a good counterpart, but of course allows us to get some good surgical strikes. Wait, what? Double? Oh yeah, he must pull back that wounded fighter there. With double fight in the field, Von Bolt could just skip deploying air for now. Another Neo Tank now pushing towards the woods. Artillery piece here, fighter there. Day 41. How long has... I know this is day 40. How long is this recording file? It's at an hour 7 minutes so far. Oh boy. Gets trapped there. Fighter does engage fighter. So far it's been a very good game. Nobody's making drastic mistakes. I still disagree with Olaf's double or triple fighter. But he does have air supremacy right now, so it's looking good for him. At least in the air department. But of course now his opponent has no aircraft in the field. And so these are two expensive units that no longer have targets. So now they are pretty much worthless right now. Lots of course, he can just spam out battlecopters. He doesn't have to worry about anti-airs with 2 fighters in the field. So he can just focus on battlecopter production and still have to be worried about his opponent's anti-airs, though. So maybe he can go for a bomber. He has air supremacy. Gets trapped, I think. And the lander. Recon there. Neo-Tank on Neo-Tank gets good strike there. Forces on property. Good strikes there. Von Bolt may get out some more anti-airs this turn. Goes for Neo Tank instead and infantry. 128 with a little bit extra funding, so 130 versus 138 plus a day-to-day. So Olaf has a sizable advantage, though he has less income right now. The Von Bolt does have a more adequate Neo Tank. Can pop his power, but it's not going to be super useful right now. Fighter and battlecopter there. Tank, anti-air, infantry. He has 2 fighters. He doesn't need anti-airs at the moment. Good strike there. Artillery piece in range of the Neo Tank. Do you see what I see? A tank, looming in the woods. We shall fill it full of holes. We shall fill it full of holes. Imagine that, do you see what I see song. I forget what that song is, a winter song. Or is it Easter? I forget. Either way, there's still a good number of Von Bolt tanks here. Von Bolt, or Olaf's making some good gains up north. Try and flip some properties. Neotank is effectively knocked out. Regular tank trying to finish it off. Does not. Infantry. Finish off the Neotank. And now this Neotank course will need significant amount of repairs. Still got a good number of Von Bolt tanks down here. Battle couple of regions. So it feels like Olaf's in pretty good position right now. But Ex Machina and Winter Fury are almost fully charged. And an Ex Machina will probably strike right here. Or even just... yeah, it will strike right here. Artillery is more valuable than recon. We would need another 16,000. Bomb bolts at 100,000 versus opponent's end of turn base 150. So bomb bolts starting to fall battle turn behind. Good anti-air strike there. Neotank gets knocked out. Battlecopter gets knocked out. Recon artillery piece gets spotted there. Double fighter here. That can draw the Ex Machina. It's probably good that he tried to draw the Ex Machina with double fighter because they are basically worthless, like I said, at this point in time. Von Bolt's not going to try to pull out any battlecopters anytime soon. Goes for recon, medium tank, anti-air. Winter Fury likely be cast this turn. Just need another 6,000. Ex Machina available. Keep the fighters next to each other. Draw the Ex Machina there. And here comes the Winter Fury. I think Olaf's starting to pull ahead this game. Medium tank there. There's a lot of congestion there. Will the Ex Machina be drawn there? If you were the one to make sure the Ex Machina gets drawn up there, pull out a battlecopter up there. That would definitely make it get drawn up there. Medium tank. Now it'll still hit the 2 fighters, so it won't strike the medium tank. A 9 health fighter is 20,000 minus 10%, which is 18, so that's higher than 16. So it'll get struck right here. Yeah, we'll definitely get struck right, hit the fighters. Let's find out. Nothing visible. Of course, does get the global 10 plus 10 plus 10, which is actually quite important, but both of them have that active at the moment. Effectively canceling it out, but defense is tend to be weighted higher than offense, if I heard correctly. Trying to threaten the HQ, join captures as well, so it's going to be a 12 capture focus. Tank, infantry. Does hit the fighters. You could actually merge them to get a decent amount of money back. Of course, next turn. Or he could try keeping them around to draw the next Ex Machina. Good medium tank shot onto the Neo tank. Von Bolt starting to disintegrate here. Of course, Olaf does the fight against plus 10 this turn. Battlecopter will go down next turn. Rocket. I generally disagree seeing rockets. It can be forward deployed over here quite well, so it won't take too long to get the front line. Rockets slow down your advance. Sorry, I hit my microphone again, but I don't know if that's going to be super... He doesn't have a lot of things to project down south with. He does have a decent amount of presence. Of course, he doesn't have too much reconnaissance here. It could be nice in some of these forests. Maybe this forest here, or this forest, maybe on top of the property, the city. I don't know if that was a good idea. Oops, I hit spacebar. This is not the right game to hit spacebar to continue. This is not RimWorld. I have RimWorld spacebar to pause the game, and it's like my mind auto thought, oh, unpause the game. No, it's never paused. It's turn-based. Good strike there. I don't know if the rock's gonna be super useful. Potentially yes, but potentially no. Great strike there. Medium tank, recon, infantry. Rocket does get loaded on up. Good strike there. Tank takes out the anti-air. I would like to see the recon be dismounted right there, not down there. Could try pushing more pressure down there. He does have two infantry units nearby. Right now, Bombbolt does have a slight economic advantage. He didn't merge the two fighters. Neo tank here. Is he worried about a counterattack? That's why he bought the rocket. If he thinks he's on defense, that's why you should build out rockets. But if you think you want to be on offense, you don't want to build rockets. Goes the Neo tank into there. Gets a good strike onto it. Is it worth probably sticking behind a back line to get more repairs? Maybe not. I think 6 health is probably a good minimum health for a Neo tank to push forward with. He has his medium tank in range of his opponent's medium tank next turn. One, two, three, four, 5. So if rocket reached out there, so it needs to push forward a little bit. But Bombbolt is lacking recons. He has tanks. Tanks are decent spotters, but not excellent spotters. He does take out the Neo tank there. The light tank takes some hits. Down to 1 health. Yeah, it feels like Bombbolt's starting to disintegrate. Of course, there's some medium tanks on the field. And as well, this fighter is more or less dead weight right now. So take Olaf's value, minus 20,000. So it's really at 134,000 at the moment. Or in the fact that the fighter does provide air supremacy. A Neo tank here. Rocket push forward, so it will cover his medium tanks. Does spot this medium tank. Does not see the rocket at the moment. Right now, ends at 150,000 minus 20, so it's effectively 133 versus 113 plus 26. So it's actually close to day to day if you exclude the fighter. Got double Neo tank here, so it feels pretty good for Olaf right now. But still could go either way. Medium tank strikes medium tank. Medium tank gets good first strike from medium tank, leaving him effectively similar health. The rocket's good. The rocket will provide an excellent strike there. Gets a good strike from recon. Bombbolt's trying to threaten some of these northern properties. This is 1 turn away from being captured. First strike there. Very good recon there. And recon will spot a whole lot of nothing here, so it may warrant some more infantry units, or maybe infantry the T-copter? Well, he already has most of these properties, so maybe not. I think the recon just trying to police the area of infantry is all he needs, actually, now thinking about it. Another bomber. He does have to worry about this fighter. He does not know his opponent's down to 1 fighter. He merged them. Does have some anti-airs in there. Hasn't seen the fighters recently, so maybe he has an idea he merged them. I wonder if he had an idea that his opponent got his fighters got hit by the Ex Machina. Possibly. These player skill are not to sound bad or anything. They're at 1200, which is getting to the point where they're not noobish, they're not pros, they're good. I don't know how good. That's probably a bit of an insult to them, but I don't know how else to describe it. I'm curious how well this our rocket will do versus the medium tank. Will do good. Yes, good strike there. Allow him to equally match the... Let the medium tank gauge this medium tank. Or just use Neo Tank to finish off. Feels like Vulnerable's in an increasingly worse position. Vulnerable does have a slight economic lead. The Bomber is his unit to provide pressure in the middle of the map. At 150,000 versus... I don't know where his value's at. This value does not seem right to me. Because the only thing I see is a bomber and medium tank to really absorb value. He does have some scattered force along his flank, which opponent does not have any counter to this stuff at the moment, but it feels like this value is just incorrect. And to... Yeah, it doesn't feel like 118,000. But he's making some good progress on this flank. There's properties from the kill claim. He did interrupt it, but next turn will be captured. Is that fighter in range? I can never judge the range of fighters. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It has 9 range. I forget. I honestly can't remember what the range of the fighter is. Neo tank, infantry, infantry. It is in range of the bomber, just doesn't have vision range of the bomber. And it doesn't need to worry about, if he does spot it, doesn't want to pop Blizzard, just go into strike and knock it out. It's worth it. Will you see that bomber? It would be difficult to spot the bomber. The tank will have to move up here to spot it, which would be a bit suicidal. That'd be a bad move of the tank overall, but be a great move of the tank overall. But of course, he probably wouldn't make that call. Neo tank and medium tank over here. Of course, that is a wounded medium tank, but more enough to deal with some of these forces. Brought the Neo tank over here. So the bomber should try to go over here. With these Neo tanks in the region, he plus bring his fighter up here. It is in a good position to project. But it also seems like it's out of anti-air range, right? Yep, it's out of fire's out of anti-air range, so it's in a good spot. Releasing some of those infantry units, very nice. Interrupts the capture. Good strike there. He spots the fighter, so now he knows where exactly not to put his bomber. He can always make a gamble putting in range, but out of vision range of his opponent, because he doesn't see a whole lot of things he can spot at the moment, which is quite significant. Does take out that unit. Just put a good hole there. Good hole there. Doesn't take out that medium tank. May have rolled some bad luck. Or low luck. Bad luck is, of course, technically something different. So, it looks like he's still in range of that fighter. Barring the walls in front of him, he's in range, just not in vision range. Good rocket strike there. Fighter does pull back, anti-air, out of vision range at the moment. Infantry could spot it. Actually, did he not spot it? Of course, there's always some visual bugs here. He now spots it. The fighter is out of range. That forest is providing some good blocking there. We're going to see Winter Fury, so he probably needs to go and bomb the Neotank for the bomber. Unless, no, the Neotank could be engaged by another Neotank. Looks like this other Neotank's out of range. Yep, just out of tile by 1 range. So this Neotank could go forward to this property. Gets a great strike on the rocket. It will bomb Neotank. Takes the battlecopter. Next Winter Fury is available. The next turn we will follow up with Ex Machina likely. Neotank goes way down over here. Interrupts the capture. Right now he's ahead by a decent funding rate. Minor wall there, but can easily be broken. You end the turn with 155. And it's going to take about 30,000 damage, at least, from the Winter Fury itself. Olaf does have 130, so he should have more value moment, plus his day-to-day income as well, so not spent. It is day 51. Tank engage tank. Neotank engage tank. Takes the anti-air there. Good. Oh, not so great strike of the rocket. Fighter nukes the bomber. Or shoots it down. It's the opposite of a nuke. Trying to flip some properties. Got another Neotank, medium tank here. Ex Machina could be popped, which could strike right here. No, the fighter's right here. It'll might strike right here. The Ex Machina strikes anywhere. I think it's going to strike right here. Needs another 3,500 power charge. Ex Machina is now available. I have a feeling it's going to strike right here. Oh! It strikes right there, so Neotank's knocked out. Does splash his own infantry unit here. But he now knows exactly where to land, so he must have a good feeling there's something valuable here that's out of vision range. So this Neotank's knocked out. Everything's pretty well wounded. He does have a bit of a double turn. He is at less than 100,000 deployed in the field. And so this will stall his opponent's advance, strikes the Neotank and the tank. Anti-air as well, but it's not like... Oh, it could still do some good damage versus the battlecopter if it was in vision range. Some of these units are 1 health, some of these units are 1% health. Von Bolt's at now approximately 140,000 versus opponent's 140,000, so it's roughly day-to-day income. Neotank's tank gets a good strike there. Medium tank fully destroyed. Interrupts the capture. Neotank goes right forward. Does spot the wounded Neotank now. Which could strike his opponent's Neotank. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. If the infantry just gets on top of his force, the Neotank possibly could be fine this turn. He does not get on top of the forest, but it could be a safe stunt. No, you can scout out the forest by moving the 4 health infantry unit there. So I disagree. I think he should have put an infantry unit on that forest. because this infantry unit could just charge right there, get a shot on the infantry unit, and then boom, now that 7 health Neo Tank engage the full health Neo Tank. Does fall back to property. Another bomber deployed on the field by Olaf. Olaf will have 142,000 versus opponents 138 plus day-to-day, so I think Vonbolt's roughly evening it out. He does have a decent economic advantage. Neo-Tank on Neo-Tank. He's taking a lot of good engagement here. Took on Medium Tank, took on Neo-Tank. The last time I really mentioned out the value. Takes out the rocket. What's left of it? It was at 1% health. Even the machine guns could take it out. Vonbolt's really pushing way forward. Fighter deployed by Vonbolt. Good. And now we've got the battlecopter down. So Vonbolt's anti-air or Neo-Tank's effectively knocked out. Blizzard now available. Neo-Tank deployed in the field as well. Got an anti-air here, but the bomber is protected. Can take a strike on the battlecopter. I don't think there's any way this anti-air can reach this bomber. Unless it can somehow take out the infantry unit, but this Neo-Tank could actually pull back the infantry unit. Neo-Tank takes out the infantry, then get the anti-air to hit the bomber, but that would be possibly sacking a Neo-Tank. Decides just to take out the battlecopter. And now Vonbolt's trying to flip some more properties. It's going to be very far away. Keep the Neo-Tanks in ambush position. The high mobility makes some pretty good ambush units. Fighter heading up north. Bomber, infantry. Turn 55. Day 55. Anti-air goes down. 3 health anti-air is not going to be too significant. These superpowers being hyper expensive. What originally started out was like 81,000 is now 210, and it's 176 here. Recon, fighter being redeployed down south. Great strike there, takes out the bomber, which means this fighter did its job. It's going to receive retaliation fire from this fighter, but that's probably perfectly fine. It's had one job and did it well. Of course, keeping that fighter alive would be quite useful to help escort his own bomber. He does have, of course, he won't get one-shotted by this fighter, and he has a soon-to-be a 5 health anti-air can help provide retaliation damage, so this bomber should have some good free range. 157, 159 versus now 126 and 25. Looks like Olaf is starting to fall behind by about a turn. This game's been going back and forth. Great strikes there, but this fighter should be... Now the counterattack will come forward. Vonbolt's bomber. Gotta make sure it doesn't get too close to that anti-air. But could nuke a Neo-Tank. He has another Neo-Tank here. Maybe worth it. It's also a medium tank. Also this Neo-Tank. It may be worth to charge the bomber. It's getting that point where there's so much high value targets. You may just need to make do because Sacking bomber tank and neo tank is worth it equally. If he spots the interior, the light tank can put a hole into it. Winter Fury is not available. Battlecopter can good strike this. Spots the anti-air, so the tank can strike it. Plus, the anti-air may just try to take out the fighter, even though it's probably better to sack it. I don't know at this point. I think Olaf is starting to really disintegrate now. He lost a large amount of his high value stuff. It's also I'm getting a bit hit by fatigue. Battlecopter, tank, infantry, infantry. Winter Fury on turn 57. He has about another fighter, so he has more air superiority. Maybe a good idea for this anti-air to take out this fighter. I don't know at this point in time. Probably hitting the battlecopter is probably a better option for the anti-air, because anti-airs always do quite well versus these battlecopters. Neo tank falls back. Medium tank finish off the neo tank. Strike there with the recon. And we've got 27 versus 30, 23 funding difference. Another fighter. I disagree. I don't think there should be too many fighters on the field. I think he's been pulling too many fighters out on the field. Bomber, of course, has reduced mobility, so can't really run away from the fighter. He gets a good shot there. He's also going to try to wall this fighter. I don't know how effective that's going to be. It's at least out of vision range. Bomb bolts down to below 100,000, so it's going to be about 125 at the end of this turn. Mech, anti-air, anti-air. We've got a mech here. I don't know what to make of that. My analyzation skills are non-existent now. Olaf does start the turn with less than 100,000 as well, and he will not recover as much. He's going to be at 110. Von both starting to squeeze out ever so that's his victory. 16 units versus 29. It really feels like Von Bolt's starting to run away with this. I think Olaf's starting to break. That last massive engagement there where the bomber and neo tanks clashed went in favor of Von Bolt's quite handily. And double fighter, remember as well. So take this value and minus 40,000. That's how much he has on the ground. Not a lot. Aircraft patrolling both parts of the map. Does go for tanks and infantry. Try to stop interrupting captures once again. We've got another flip there, which is starting being very important for Von Bolt. He has been having great economic advantage. We've got a couple of recons up here. Nothing to really engage the tank. I can't believe I mentioned the fact there's no counter to a tank on the northern part of the map now. And a map will include up to mega tanks and bombers. And now a tank is being put on the field. And the bomber falls back entirely, just trying to keep away from the fighters. Battlecopter gets nuke. Ex Machina now available. Looks like Ex Machina will like the land right here at the moment. Actually, gotta make sure this Neo tank's away from other assets. He took out battlecopters, so I don't know. Where do you want to lose your arm or leg next turn? That's what the Ex Machina now represent. The fighters can help him manipulate it, but this fighter's already been moved, and there's some supporting value here. Put the tank next to the fighter, it will land there. It will land here. No. 29,000. 7,000 plus. Minus 2. So that's minus 2,200. He may strike here. And that may be worse. Let's find out. We see the fighter, so we'll know if he lands down here. He puts a hole into the fighter. He landed either here or here. I have a feeling it may have landed here. This would be worse for Olaf if it lands right here. A lot of properties being flipped, including the HQs now being threatened. Not a severe threaten, just a threaten. Bomber push way forward. T-copter, tank, battlecopter. It struck there. I said that was the worst spot. Of having the fighter not being moved around for turns, perfectly fine, because it's less likely going to get shot off something important. Plus, he knows the 3 health battlecopter is not too important. But he needs the Neo tank and light tank. He can't go a turn without the battlecopter and fighter. That's probably game over. Bolt has 155,000 at the end of his turn. Olaf is now just barely scraping and doesn't reach 120. And not to mention, Bolt does have good amount of properties, though Olaf did just flip 2, so it's 24 to 26. Might as well. It's 2 health fighters. Not like it's going to provide much more value than that. Neo tank infantry. So we've got 2 Neo tanks here. Quite a bit of a force. It's also now turn 60 for Bolt. That's getting cleaned on up. Tank on tank. This is the highest value seen so far this game. Olaf does not have a real competition. I think he's starting to disintegrate. We've got massive field presence. There is 7 capture progress left on the HQ. Takes the bomber, which is nice. He may need to pop out a Blizzard. Blizzard will slow down his opponent for a turn, giving him some more breathing room. Because he's probably not going to get another Winter Fury this game. Can't afford a Blizzard this turn. You end the turn with 122 versus 157 plus day-to-day. Fighter gets hit, and there's another bomber on the field down south. Join captures as well. Don't know if you can interrupt it. It has 2 capture progress left, so he has to basically fully knock it out. Chance either 1 or 0 health. Does trap the battlecopter, not a huge issue. Day 62. Olaf has to interrupt his capture or he loses. At this point in time, I have feelings going to lose either way. Does get a good strike there. 4 capture progress. And resigns. Stops the capture and forfeits. Oh boy. Oh boy. This is quite a game. I don't know what more to say there. Well played by both players. This is Angrade saying, thank you for watching. I'm completely butchered. What was I going to say again? Thank you for watching, and on to the next replay.